Hello and welcome to Whisky.com, where fine spirits meet. Today I have a whiskey on my cask that calls itself Tennessee Bourbon. For all of you who know their American whiskeys, doesn't that exclude itself, Tennessee and bourbon? Because bourbon is usually from Kentucky straight bourbon, and Tennessee whiskey is only made in Tennessee, neighboring states, kind of a rivalry between Tennessee whiskey and Kentucky straight bourbon. And now we have a Tennessee bourbon, and here it even says Tennessee straight bourbon. It doesn't exclude itself because bourbon can be made all over the United States now. There is bourbon from Illinois, there's bourbon from Texas and Pennsylvania and everywhere. So yes, they are allowed to make bourbon in Tennessee. Usually they make Tennessee whiskey, which is a brand for itself. There are two well-known brands for Tennessee whiskey, but this year is actually a Tennessee bourbon. Not that far away from Tennessee whiskey, except for the Lincoln County process. This here is the Heaven's Door, and it's one of these celebrity whiskeys, where a celebrity, in this case it's Bob Dylan, went into the whiskey industry and made a whiskey with different whiskey makers. And he didn't just make the Heaven's Door Tennessee Bourbon, he actually made 3 whiskeys. The Heaven's Door Tennessee Bourbon, then we have, I think, the Straight Rye, and we have the Double Barrel. Today we're going to focus on the Tennessee Bourbon. We do also have the Straight Rye, so if you like to see the Straight Rye, please write it in the comments. But I don't think we get Double Barrel in Germany, so unfortunately I can't try that one. So yeah, Bob Dylan, I think most of you know Bob Dylan, knocking on Heaven's Door, and this is an homage to that. And it's actually an homage to the craftsmanship, because they work together with Black Buffalo Ironworks, and this shows a bit the Black Buffalo Ironworks here at the front of the whiskey. In terms of the liquid inside the bottle, they say it's 7 to 8 years old. It's not written anywhere on the bottle, so they could be having a 3-year-old liquid in there, but we're gonna have a try, so we're gonna judge if that is true or if it tastes younger. 42% ABV, 48 proof, 700 milliliters, and as it is a Tennessee bourbon, you have to have at least, as it is a bourbon, you have to have at least 51% corn in it. They don't say much about the whiskey or the stuff behind that. They say they use in their mash bill, they use 30% small grains, whatever small grains are. Don't know if that is a defined term, as I have not heard the usage of small grains. Write in the comment, maybe I have a little bit of a knowledge gap here. And it is produced and bottled by Heaven's Door Spirits, Tennessee, USA. So Heaven's Door Spirits sounds like they just got the company up just for that brand. So it's, from my point of view, it's a non-distillery product, as we don't know where it is coming from. But yeah, I think it's coming from the US. If it's all from Tennessee, I don't know. I think it comes from one distillery, otherwise they would get in trouble with the law, because they've written straight on there, and that means you have to have not a mixture of distilleries. But that fits in. That's quite tight in there. No leakage here. Oh, you already get a bit of an oaky smell, so it gives me a bit of a hint that yes, maybe it is a bit older. Typical American style whiskey. Typical for Tennessee and for bourbon. It's a lovely vanilla, sweet, a little bit of freshness as well, combined with a good amount of oak, forest, pine notes in there. So maybe that is because it's a bit older, or maybe they have a bit of a higher rye content in their mash bill. But it smells lovely and round. Quite hefty in the taste, and I would say it's a combination between both. It's not a young bourbon, so my earlier expectation of maybe 3 years old, definitely wrong. It's definitely an older whiskey. 7 to 8 years. Yeah, that is likely to be true. But also, I would say there is a good amount of rye character in there. It's not one of these very subtle, forward, light bourbons. It's more of a strong bourbon with a good amount of oak and rye character. So you have a bit of a pine note, a little bit of a minty note as well. If you've given me that in a blind tasting, I would have probably even guessed more than 7 to 8 years. Because there's a hefty, strong cask flavor in the whiskey. So it's one of the more intense bourbons, especially for 42% ABV whiskey, which is 84 proof. So it's a flavor bomb. So I would say it's one of the intermediates between a nice, pleasant, on the side, enjoy whiskey and the flavor bomb. So it can be used for both. And for all these celebrity whiskeys, there are some whiskeys out there on the market that just run with the name of the celebrity, and some of them are actually good enjoyable whiskeys. And this one, I would say, it's an enjoyable one. You have to have a taste for the bourbon style. This is definitely what you expect from a bourbon whiskey. This is typical American style bourbon whiskey. And for bourbon whiskey, it's a decent one. Bit on the intense oaky character. Is it a door towards heaven? Might be for some people. I don't have that much of a connection with a Knocking on Heaven's Door, but I guess for all the fans out there, this is a definitely must buy. And you don't waste your money on a cheap name product, but actually on a decent whiskey with a really good name. So yeah, I would recommend to have a try. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you found this video interesting, then please feel free to give a thumbs up, and see you next time.